Good morning, my name is Jan. I hope you are doing well, and today I will talk about culture shock. Culture shock refers to the emotional and psychological discomfort experienced when individuals encounter unfamiliar cultural norms, behaviors, and expectations that differ significantly from their own cultural background. Exist different phases to understand culture shock. The first one, initial euphoria. In this phase, individuals may feel excited and curious about the new culture. Everything seems fascinating and novel. Now, we continue with this disenchantment. As individuals start to encounter cultural differences and face challenges in adapting, they may begin to feel frustrated, anxious, and disillusioned. Then we have recovery. During this phase, learn coping strategies and gradually become more and more comfortable with the new cultural environment. And finally, we have the adaptation. In this final phase, individuals achieve a level of comfort and integration within the new culture. They have successfully adjusted to the cultural differences and can function effectively. Now, we have some examples of the definition and phases. For example, in definition we have this example. Just let's imagine an American student studying abroad in Japan. They might experience culture shock when they encounter Japanese customs, such as bowing instead of shaking hands, removing shoes before entering homes, and the concept of saving face in communication. Now, in terms of phases of cultural shock, first, in initial euphoria, for example, upon arriving in Japan, the students may be excited to explore the vibrant cities, try new foods like sushi, and immerse themselves in the rich cultural heritage. Then, in the disenchantment, as time passes, the student may struggle with the language barriers, feel isolated due to the differences in social norms, and experience frustration when trying to navigate public transportation, which is a normal and common problem. Now, in terms of recovery, with time the student starts to adapt by attending language classes, seeking or cultural exchange opportunities, and forming friendships with locals who help them adjust. Finally, in the adaptation, eventually the student becomes comfortable living in Japan, develops a routine, and gains a deeper understanding and appreciation for the culture. Well, so moving on the factors that influence cultural shock, we have different factors. First one, linguistic differences. Language barriers can be a significant source of culture shock, making communication challenging. Social norms and behaviors. Different social customs, manners, and expectations can lead to misunderstandings and discomfort. In terms of cultural values, well, variances in cultural values, beliefs, and attitudes toward concepts such as time, hierarchy, and personal space can cause confusion and stress. And finally, adjustment stress. The process of adapting to a new culture can be physically and emotionally draining, leading to stress and anxiety. But for this reason, I have some strategies in order to help you to have good results in this path to adapt to a new culture. So let's see. The first one is pre-education about the destination culture. So, learning about the customs, traditions, and values of the host culture before arrival can help individuals anticipate and better cope with cultural differences. Second, keeping an open mind and being flexible. Well, remaining open to new experiences and different ways of thinking can facilitate adaptation and reduce the impact of cultural shock. Of course, learning the local language. Acquiring basic language skills can enhance communication and foster a sense of connection with the local community. That's really important. Now, and then developing super networks, like Building relationships with both locals and other expatriates can provide emotional support and practical assistance during the adaptation process. Also, engaging in integration activities. Participating in cultural events, joining clubs or organizations, and exploring the local cuisine and customs can help individuals feel more like at home in the new cultural environment. Also, acceptance and adaptation. Embracing cultural differences with an attitude of acceptance and adapting one's behavior accordingly can facilitate smoother interactions and reduce cultural misunderstandings. And finally, which is really important to take into account, seeking professional help. Maybe if culture shock symptoms persist or become overwhelming, seeking assistance from mental health professionals or intercultural trainers can be beneficial. Finally, let me give you some indicators of success in the intercultural context. So, the first one, adaptability. Successful adaptation to new cultural environments demonstrates an individual's ability to navigate unfamiliar situations and adjust their behavior and attitudes accordingly. Flexibility. Being able to adapt and modify one's behaviors, communication style, and expectations to align with the cultural norms and preferences of others indicates a high level of intercultural competence. Empathy. Understanding and appreciating the perspectives, values, and experiences of individuals from diverse cultural backgrounds fosters empathy and also enhances intercultural communication and collaboration. Effective communication. The ability to communicate clearly, respectfully, and appropriately across cultural boundaries is essential for building trust, resolving conflicts, and fostering productive relationships in intercultural contexts. Tolerance. Demonstrating respect for cultural differences and showing openness to diverse viewpoints and practices contributes to harmonious intercultural interactions and mutual understanding. Self-awareness. Having a deep understanding of one's own culture, identity, biases, and values enables individuals to reflect on their attitudes and behaviors and adapt them as needed in intercultural encounters. And finally, adaptation success. Successfully integrating into a new cultural environment, forming meaningful relationships with individuals from their cultural backgrounds, and achieving personal and professional goals, of course, indicate a high level of competence and resilience in intercultural context. Having in mind all of this information, I can remark that even when we go to another country, we can find many different difficulties. However, we need to understand these different phases of culture shock. If we take into account these different phases and we understand it's a normal process, we can have a really good relationship with others and of course with the cultural norms, the behaviors, the new attitudes. So it's important to adapt to this culture because we are now from this culture, from this country, but also we want to be part of this culture in order to be successful or to achieve many important goals professionally or educationally. So bearing in mind this information, we can understand the importance to adapt even if you are completely different to achieve something bigger than you think and what you really want to do in your life. And with these examples, you can also know how to act in different situations that can be overwhelming. Of course, like understand that the norms, that the cultural values, and many things are completely different. But even when you are totally different, you can interact with other people with other customs in a really good way, respectfully, and of course understanding that everybody is completely different. So this information, I hope this information could be really helpful for you. And this is my presentation about cultural shock. Thank you so much. I hope you can have a really good day.